Joseph Hanna here from No Reserve Classics. Today I'm going to present to you guys everybody's dream car, a 1970 Chevelle that has been upgraded and stepped up to a full-on pro touring car with an LS2 motor that was stroked out to 406 cubic inches, a Gearstar 4L85E transmission, and of course, in a pro touring car, vintage air and plenty of suspension upgrades. Show you guys just how easy it is to drive a full, true pro touring car with fuel injection. Key to the on position, let the fuel pump warm up a little bit. Oh my God, just like music to my ears. Let's hear how this baby sounds. Woo! Let's get ready for a ride. What an amazing experience it is to drive this 70 Chevelle Pro Touring car. And God, how tight is this car? I mean, it feels like I could drive this car every day and on the weekend take it to a track. I mean, that's how well. Just imagine a 70 Chevelle. These are, guys, these are big bodied cars. To be able to get one of these to handle the way this one does is so expensive, so hard, and so time consuming. And this one is perfectly tuned. LS2 stroker motor, essentially an LSX. I think it's stroked out to 406 cubic inches, dyno tested at 526 horsepower. And then you have this awesome Gearstar 4L85 transmission that, wow, does it shift well. Just a solid, nice, tight shift, like a well-engineered watch. As I look at the dash and I look at the steering wheel and everything around me, and it feels like I've stepped back in time. Yet at the same time, everything is functioning and I have these modern amenities. For example, the air-conditioned heating system. Vintage Air does a phenomenal job at making these things look factory, yet not that old clunky cable-driven system. It's electronically driven. So just super easy to use, just like a modern car. My clock is working, my rally gauges are all working. My radio, again, even though it looks factory, it's got some great sound with that 200-watt built-in amplifier, and I can run my iPhone off of it. And then for a little touch of modern, I look down at my center console, and I have my Terminator X fuel injection screen, which will give me all my correct readouts. And right from that touch screen, I can tune it to any type of driving that I want. Just an awesome experience to drive this car. I put the blinkers on, my right turn signal, everything is super tight. I come to a stop sign and it stops right on a dime. I got 4-wheel power Willwood disc brakes, 4-piston in the front, 2-piston in the rear. But the best part is the hydro boost braking. Makes such a big difference. I could drive and cruise lightly and easily and peacefully, or I can press the gas, the Gearstar transmission 4L85 is electronically controlled, boom, it drops a gear, and I got full-on power. I could corner this car with essentially no body roll. Those QA1 coilovers, tubular control arms, larger sway bars, and all the rear suspension upgrades. Yet at the same time, I look around my cockpit and I'm still being taken back in time. I feel like I'm in 1970 or 1971 all over again. I still get the thumbs up from everybody because the outside of the car looks essentially all original. Just a great, great driving experience. A little bit of medication too. On a warm day or on any day, feeling a little anxious, you take this car out, you cruise around some corners, and it just puts a smile back on your face. And this is why people buy Pro Touring resto mods. Perfect reason why. Cal induction still works properly. And you could take this car to a car show and win a trophy with it. You could drive it back and forth to work every day. You could take it to your mountain house 3 or 4 hours away. Or on the weekend, hey, why not? Take it to the track, see how this baby corners. put it up against some other muscle cars, and I'm sure this will outbeat them. But overall, a comfortable experience, a fun experience, a relaxing experience. Everything you'd want out of a classic car. And an investment grade car at that. You can keep this car, and years down the line, the prices on these things just continue to go up. You go buy a brand new C8 Corvette or C7 Corvette or whatever it is, you leave the lot, and a month later, you want to sell it, you get 20% less than what you paid for it. It's the sad but honest truth. But I tell you what, with these classic cars, especially an iconic car like a '70 Chevelle, you won't have that problem. I hope you guys really enjoyed that ride. What we're going to be talking about now is the exterior of the car. Well, let me just say this before we start. This car, from what we understand, originally started as an SS396. If you guys or gals out there are looking to build a Pro Touring car, this is the perfect foundation that was started with. All right, it's a 1970 Chevelle that was originally an SS396 and an LA-built California car. That means so much because their weather in California, unlike us in the Northeast, really knows how to preserve a classic car. So just the perfect foundation to start a full Pro Touring car out of. There was just a recent respray done on it, so the turquoise paint is in absolutely phenomenal condition and the clear coat lays flat. The stripes are way underneath the clear. The chrome is in awesome shape. The Restomata headlight kit in the front end really works nice, and the blue rings match the rest of the exterior when you're putting it on your daytime running lights or just cruising down the road. Cal induction hood does work properly. It still works properly. Just an awesome function to have, even though it's got an LS2 motor in there and not your old style 454 with Cal induction air cleaner. That LS2 will really appreciate that airflow coming to the top of the engine, right? Now, going along the side of the car, you'll notice the wheels. The wheels have a nice gray touch to them. They're full Pro Touring wheels, and they're fully staggered. You got 18/8s in the front and 20/10s in the rear with massive 305 tires. So taking a step back from the wheels, you'll notice the four-wheel Wilwood disc brakes, which also not only helps with your stopping power to have Wilwood disc brakes, but hey, they look cool. Overall, the exterior of this car is in awesome shape. The vinyl top is in awesome shape. The chrome is in awesome shape. And from 15 feet away from it, you look at the car and it looks like just your regular old SS396 or SS454. But when you get up a little bit closer, you'll say to yourself, there's definitely some upgrades on this Pro Touring car. There's definitely something a little different about it, which is exactly what we were trying to go for with the design of this build. The engine compartment in this car is absolutely stunning. And you look at the firewall and you could just see how nice and clean and straight it is. Well, that's the original firewall in this car, which is quite amazing. A lot like the underbody of this car. I know I've mentioned this 1,000 times, but that's what you get from a true West Coast built car. Moving on to the rest of the engine compartment, the first thing I want to point out is a serpentine kit. It's a TSP fully polished serpentine kit. And wow, does it look gorgeous. If you guys are going to a car show or just showing off the car, you pop the hood on this car and the first thing you see is that polished serpentine kit, which looks absolutely phenomenal. The engine in this car is an LS2 that has been fully stroked out. Now, this wasn't an LS2 that was pulled out of a 2007 Corvette like a lot of these Pro Touring cars, which there's nothing wrong with. This was an actual LS2 aluminum block that was built all the way up, which whoever buys this car will have full documentation and paperwork. The engine was dynoed at 526 horsepower. The car was dynoed at 454 horsepower to the rear wheels, so plenty of power. It's got Hooker ceramic headers on it, and then of course, Hydro Boost brakes. When you got a Pro Touring car and you're working with a built LSX, LS2 LSX motor like this, sometimes they might not pull the correct vacuum to give you proper braking. Well, you'll be able to get that proper braking with this Hydro Boost setup. It's relatively new, but it's a must-have for Pro Touring cars. So you got full four-wheel power Wilwood disc brakes with Hydro Boost braking system. So the braking on this car is absolutely phenomenal. The braking matches with the acceleration that you'll get. Now, what is handling this engine? A super awesome Gearstar 4L85E transmission with a controller. So you got plenty of power coming out of the motor and plenty of power that can handle it from that Gearstar 4L85 monstrous transmission in there. Of course, an aluminum radiator with dual electric fans and so much more in just a very clean show style engine compartment. Probably one of my favorite parts about this car is the interior, because it still looks original, yet extremely functional. You look at the gauges, they still look like the factory SS style rally gauges, but they've been upgraded to be able to work with the modern LS motor and 4L85 transmission. You look at the radio still looks factory and looks like it would have came with this car originally, but thanks to Retro Sound, they make an awesome radio that has upgraded amenities like an auxiliary port, a 50x4 amplifier, and a lot of other functions for that radio, because we all know we need our tunes in these Pro Touring Resto Mod cars. On top of the radio, you'll also notice the air conditioned heating controls. Although those air conditioned heating controls look original, they're not. Vintage Air makes an electronic, instead of cable driven, which is impossible to use, an electronic control system for their heating and air conditioning system, which this car, again, is equipped with the Vintage Air system, and it also does have the upgrade for the Vintage Air electronic controls that look factory and original. Now you look at the front seats, even though they still look somewhat like original buckets, no. They're fully adjustable with adjustable recliners. They will also hug you a lot better when you're cornering because they're bolstered a lot more. So very big difference as far as comfort, especially if someone plans on driving this car daily, like most people would like to do with a Pro Touring car. You look at the center console still looks original, but if you look a little closer on the gear indicator, you'll notice it's not 3 speeds, it's 4 speeds, because the 4L85 does have the 4th gear for overdrive for long distance driving. The back seat is in awesome shape, the headliner is in awesome shape, and the upgraded Morris Classics 3-point seat belts in the front will definitely keep you safe. You look at the steering wheel, original factory style steering wheel, original factory style steering column, also in great shape, but again, the steering column is fully adjustable with a tilt, a tilt column as well. Door panels in excellent shape. Just overall, a very well put together interior. The SS454 floor mats fit well with the car, and everything all in all in the interior looks brand new and functions with modern amenities just like you'd want from a full Pro Touring car. The underbody and suspension. The underbody and suspension of this car is in amazing shape and just as beautiful as the top of the car. The underbody does retain a lot, or I think all of the original floors in my professional opinion. Now for drivability, this car does have a full Pro Touring suspension, and that includes tubular control arms, QA1 adjustable coilover, it's boxed out trailing arms, a larger sway bar in the rear, and a lot more. And let me tell you guys, this car is a breeze to drive in and handles like a modern car, which is what a Pro Touring car is all about, right? So all in all, a very clean, beautifully detailed, nice original underbody with a 12-bolt posi rear and 373 gears, a stainless steel exhaust and a stainless steel Rix gas tank, and a full Pro Touring adjustable QA1 suspension. So there you have it, a 1970 Chevelle SS full Pro Touring car with an LS2 LSX stroker motor, 4L85 transmission, full Pro Touring suspension, and yeah, of course, air conditioning and heating and a lot of other modern amenities. Guys, pay close attention to this. It's not every single day that you see a build like this come to the market at a generally affordable price with not having to build one of these cars for $200,000+. Pay close attention to this one. This is Joseph Hanna from No Reserve Classics. If you guys like this car and other cool cars, check out our website at noreserveclassics.com. And don't forget to like us and follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you're just into watching really cool videos about Pro Touring and Resto Mod cars, check us out on YouTube.